Good morning, Jenna. It's Friday. Let's cut to the chase. Is the pen mightier than the sword? I am a pen is mightier than the sword person, but for all of you sword people, hear me out. Jenna, you and I may be romantics as we consider the power of words, but sometimes the romantics are not the crazy people. In Rob's roommate's argument, he seemed to think that words are not active. I argue the contrary. One would argue that while those with swords are being some degree of active, that kind of activity only has one relatively sloppy end result. If, however, the people who are having the conflict sit down and talk to each other, the outcome is able to have infinite possibilities, and both parties are going to be able to benefit more than they would if they started hitting each other. Men in armies do not, in fact, win wars. They only fight them. Wars begin with misunderstandings and with actions. They only formally begin with words. Then in the middle, shots are fired, lives are ruined, families and hearts are broken. You can argue tactics and strategies all you want in order to more efficiently achieve your ends with the sword, but when you start the fight, you never actually know who's going to get hurt. In the end, truthfully, all wars end with words. I learned this from Doctor Who. I'll put a link to the video clip in the description. It's worth a watch. Your boyfriend's roomie also said that if you take the sword out of the equation, the pen can't be helped. Wrong! If you take the sword equivalently out of both sides of the equation, as we just concluded, you are left with words which are constructive and beneficial. If, however, your boyfriend's roommate was talking about an unbalanced equation where one side has sword and words and the other side only has words, my previous argument still stands that at the end of the day, they're both just gonna have to sit down and talk after needless destruction happens. To paraphrase Dumbledore, words, Jenna, are our most inexhaustible source of power, capable of both afflicting injury and remedying it. Reading and writing in words encourages complex critical thinking and imagination, all good tools for imagining the people and world and problems complexly and for coming up with solutions to solve them. Don't solve people, that wasn't the point. There's a time for words and there's a time for deeds, Jana, but deeds should not destroy. Do I think the sword people will be swayed? Nah. They're sword people. For the rest of the video, I was planning on talking about things that I love because I am a simple, easy-to-please person and midterms are coming up, so I need little pieces of happiness. But also because midterms are coming up, I'm also kind of dying a little bit on the inside and I don't have enough time to do actual things. So one, please excuse the poor quality videos that are going to be coming probably for the next 4 weeks. Two, even though I don't have time to logistically do any of these things, please enjoy this little montage / time-lapse of stress-relieving techniques that I like to use.
Sleeping to avoid my problems. Eating my emotions while watching Vines. Coloring. Assuming the fetal position and rocking back and forth on the bed and trying not to cry.
Shout out to Dan Barry for loaning me this new camera. Hopefully you can tell that there's a difference. That would indicate that I'm using it correctly, but I actually don't know. For my song of the week, I want to start by introducing the artist. Cat Mo is one of those artists that my parents started taking me and my brother to ever since we were old enough to stay awake during the entirety of a concert. He's one of the best blues musicians I know and a really phenomenal guitarist. The song is called She Just Wants to Dance, and it is just really fun for everybody. Go take a listen. I have 3 videos of the week again. One is something that my female engineering analysis teacher showed me in a video about Neil Armstrong, talking about being a nerd. There was also John Green's video last week about how the gender pay gap is real, and he talks about it really in depth, and I think it's a really good educational video. The third video was Hank Green's video, I think it was last week too, that is just titled Why the Word Millennial Makes Me Cringe. My Geek of the Week, which I think I forgot to do last week, is Discrete Mathematics. I've always loved logic structures ever since I took the class in middle school, but now I actually understand what's going on, and whenever I do the homework and I get a problem right, I feel oddly powerful. Have a good week, Jenna, and don't forget to be awesome.